In this chapter, we're going to build a report that summarizes yearly profits for each of Kinetico's product categories. The report will be customizable via some form controls so the end user can choose a year and category to view. And we'll want to break down those profits by geographic region and state. There's a lot of parts to this project, but we'll break it down and build it one piece at a time. Let's start by creating a query that will collect and organize the data that we're interested in reporting on. To do that, I'll go over here to the Create tab, and then I'll choose Query Design. In the Show Table window, we get to choose which tables of information we want to pull from. I'm going to start with the Orders table. From the Orders table, we'll be able to get information about the order's date and how many products were ordered. Then we'll pull out the Products table. I'll double-click on that to add it. The Products table will give us information about the product's category and some pricing information. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add in the Customers table. Now, we're not specifically concerned with our customers or the people who are placing the order, but I do need the Customers table in order to get over to the States table, so we can find out information about the region name and the state name that the order was delivered to. Let's go ahead and close the Show Table window. So these are the 4 tables that we're going to pull data from. Now we can start populating the various fields for our query. I'm going to come down here into this very first field here. Now in the first field, what I want to do is add in a reference to our order dates. But for this particular report, we're not interested in the specific dates. We're only interested in the aggregated years that the orders were placed in. So for that, I'm going to use a year function to extract that year. Let's go ahead and right-click on this first field and launch the expression builder by pressing the Build button here. Up here in the expression window, I'm going to type in an alias for our field. I'm going to type in the word year, followed by a colon. Then I'm going to type in the name of the function, which also just happens to be year. I'll open up a parenthesis, and then it wants to know which dates are we applying this year function to. We can go into our database folder here to find that information. I'll open up the tables. We'll go into the Orders table, and then I'll double-click on the order date value. Let's go ahead and finish the statement with a closing parenthesis, and we'll say OK. Next, we're interested in the product category. So I'm going to go ahead and double-click on Category from the Products table to add that. The next thing we want to know is our profit for each order. Now we can go ahead and calculate profit if I open up the Products table a little bit here, and open up the Orders table here. We can calculate profit by taking the suggested retail price here, which is the price that the customer paid, subtracting from that the manufacturing cost, or our cost to make the product, and then multiplying that value by the quantity ordered for each product. So let's go ahead and construct that formula. I'll come down here into the third box. I'll right-click and say Build. Up here in the expression builder, I'll go ahead and type in an alias. I'm going to call this profit, followed by a colon. Now we need to go ahead and type in a parenthesis. We'll come down here into our expression elements window and expand the database. We'll go into our tables, and we'll go into our products table. And then I'll double-click on the suggested retail cost. Then I'm going to type in a minus sign on the keyboard, and then double-click on manufacturing cost to subtract the manufacturing cost from the suggested retail price. We'll do a closing parenthesis here, and then I'll press the multiply sign, or the asterisk character, to multiply that by the value that's over here in the Orders table. So go back out to Tables, we'll click on Orders, and then I'll multiply it by the quantity, so I'll double-click here. So that finishes up our profit calculation. We can go ahead and say OK to this, and it gets added here to the third column. Finally, we want to know where these orders went. So I'll come over here to the States table, I'll double-click on Region Name, and I'll double-click on State Name. If I go ahead and run the query to see where we're at, we'll see down here at the bottom that I have 2,200 records. That indicates every unique order that was placed. So we can see that I have one order that was placed in 2008. It was placed for an item in the solar panels category for a total order cost of $561, and it went to the state of Florida. These are all of our unique orders from the orders table. Let's go ahead and summarize these values instead. I'll switch my view back up to Design View. And then over here on the ribbon, I'm going to activate this button here that says Totals. That'll add the new row down here in the Query Design grid that says Total. And I'm going to come over here to the Profit row, and I'm going to change this from Group By to Sum. That'll add up the profits for all of the same product categories, years, and states. Let's go ahead and run this. Now I can get a summarized total of how each state performed. For instance, in 2008, in the batteries category, in the state of Michigan, we brought in a total of $12.90. And if we look down at the bottom, we can see that we now have a total of 857 records. So this is our summarized totals that we're going to add in and build a report off of. Let's go ahead and save this query now. I'll press Control S, or the save icon up here, and we'll name this Profit Summary. That'll add the query over here in our navigation pane, so you can check step 1 off of our list. We've got the records that we want to report on gathered and calculated. Now it's time to start building the report. We'll pick it up there in the next movie.